Okay, so Before the Storm. Okay, so I played episode 1 and episode 2 of Before the Storm. So that's like a prequel to, that's why it's called Before the Storm, is a prequel to that storm that happens in Life is Strange 1. And it talks about Chloe and Rachel Amber. So I do want to start off by saying that Chloe's voice actor is not that bad as I remember. Like, I think maybe when I first played, it was so unexpected that the actor was different that I thought they were just terrible because I already had that bias. But now coming into it with fresh eyes, I think the voice actor is pretty good. Like, I forget that it's a new voice actor most of the time because, like, there's already kind of a different vibe to Chloe anyway. Like, this is before she, I guess everything kind of fully falls apart for her. But yeah, also the personality of her is still kind of the same. I think also another thing I messed up with on my first time playing was that I would think about things or make choices in the way that I would make the choices, but I'm not doing it in the way that Chloe should be making the choices. I think that's the issue with, which I'll go over, I guess. But that's one of the issues with having a prequel, especially for a game where you make choices and you already have that established character, is that certain choices do not fit up with the game, like with the future, basically. Like, for example, like you can either be a brat or you can be very nice or like understanding as Chloe. But you already know from Life is Strange 1 that Chloe's not that kind of type of person. She's kind of a punk rocker. She does stuff, she does whatever she wants. She's already like kind of has this teenage angst or whatever with everything due to, the past or whatever. So it's weird that, you can make choices for her that doesn't really fit her character. And if you do those choices, even though that was your action, if you do those choices, which is what happened with me, then you'll go like, what the heck? This is not Chloe. This is not what she would do. This is weird. They changed her character too much. But if you make the choices that make sense as her, then you're like, oh wait, this is like, you go, oh, this is Chloe, this is the Chloe I remember. So that's also another thing. I mean, even before I talk about like, what happened in these episodes, another thing is, of course, it talks about the beginning of Joyce and whatever his name is, the Step-Douche, whatever his name is. They talk about like the beginning of their relationship. And it's just kind of off because his character is also weird and different. And they try to make you kind of feel bad for him or like make Chloe kind of be understanding with him. But that doesn't make sense because right afterwards, she hates his guts. So it's like, why would you not just, follow how Chloe feels where she doesn't like him? She hates that her real father is being replaced by this random dude. And it's also the other thing, I mean, I'll bring that up too, but it's the same with Nathan. They try to make you feel bad for Nathan, or like they try to change his character to like make Nathan seem like this kind of anti-hero or like this kind of misunderstood kid, where you're like, what type of person he is. Like, it doesn't make sense that why are you trying to make me feel bad for, even in the game, he does stuff that is like kind of like fully douchebaggy. So why should I feel bad for him? But yeah, so let's talk about the story. The story starts off with you going into this kind of sleazy barn to see like this band play. And like you get in, you have to convince the dude, because this is one of the things that is different with this game. I guess this is its niche, is that you can do this kind of argument with people. And with the argument, you have to listen to what they say and then pick the choice that kind of rebuttals what they say or like turns back their words. Like, let's just say if they say, oh, you're acting like a baby, then you'll find these choices where it'll be like, who's the baby? Or it'd be like, I'm not a baby, you are. Or it'd be something like, oh, well, screw you. And you're supposed to pick the ones that, like, I guess, rebuttal the word. So it's like, oh, I'm not a baby, you are. And then she'll say some other crap. And, you'll have to do it, like, say, 5 times. And then if you get all 5, then you get some special something. But I've only messed up once, so I don't know what really happens when you keep messing up. But you do that to get into the barn, and you see the drug dealer dude. It turns out he's okay with Chloe, basically. Like, he seems like a nice guy, I guess. But at least that one, he seemed like it, even in Life is Strange 1, the drug dealer dude, he seemed like he was a okay guy. But the thing I noticed is that he seems like he's fairly older than everyone. Like, he might be in his late 20s, or let's just say he might be mid 20s. Even though the way he acts, it sounds like he's kind of more closer to those late 20s or early 30s kind of area. Like, let's just say from 27 to like 33 or something. But in Life is Strange 1, he apparently was dating Rachel Amber. But Rachel Amber, like, at what point did they start doing this? Because, like, in this game, you are a junior, I think, either junior or senior, but either way, you know, like you might be 17 or something. So, at what point did they start dating? And there's like no hint of that. So that kind of confuses me, like, because they were obviously like 100% like talking to each other. Because there was one point where I was like, oh, maybe this is like skipping ahead, but you see this one lady who's supposed to be Rachel Amber's real mom. And I was thinking, like, wait, was he actually dating maybe Rachel Amber's real mom? And that's why he keeps mixing up, like, it's, you know, he feels bad about Rachel and this. But in Life is Strange 1, there were photos with them together and all that. So it was like he was literally dating Rachel, which is weird because there's a huge age gap. Like, it's super, super weird and confusing because there's no hint of that throughout the story so far of them really caring about each other. Only one part, which I'll get to very soon. But yeah, so also the thing that's different with this game, like before the other game, Max's thing was like taking photos of stuff, you know, because that's her niche, just taking photos. So you'll see like some random thing and she'll take a photo and that'll be your little collectible or achievement. But in this game, it's graffiti, and she'll like graffiti stuff, and you have two choices of like, you know, whatever angsty quote to do. And I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, I guess it matches her personality. Also, the music, that's another thing. The music really matches Chloe's personality. I still like the music. I think that's a great thing with Life is Strange, is like the music really fits the vibe. And is there anything else? Anything like continue with the story? I don't think so. So after that, you know, you walk around the little barn and you try to go into the mosh pit, but then you get bumped and you bump into some guy and it spills his drink on him. And for some reason, he gets pissed over that. I don't know why I get they have to have some type of like antagonist thing, but he gets pissed over it, and then you get away from him and you're like, okay, well, I'll just go on the roof or on the second floor. But the second floor is like all kind of rusty and rustic and molded and whatever. But still, you go into the second floor and they follow you up there. Like, they're so pissed about spilling some beer on his t-shirt. It wasn't even like an expensive shirt. It was like a white t-shirt, but he's for some reason that pissed that he wants to kill this girl. And that's when Rachel Amber, you know, comes up and is like, oh, what you guys doing? Screw you, blah, blah, blah. So they get distracted and I hit him with a bottle and then we run away. Then Rachel drags you into the mosh pit somehow, and then you guys rock it out with the music or whatever. But then something happened. I thought it was something like they catch up again and then they have to run away. Something like that. I forgot what happens, but basically they have to run out the barn, and the what's his name dude, the drug dealer dude stops the people who are going to you know, attack them, because I guess he feels bad for Chloe. And I don't know if he knew Rachel at that point, but it seemed like he kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just because I already know that they did have some type of relationship before. But yeah, so that's the opening scene. And that is one thing I want to note. Like, you notice this opening scene wasn't that crazy. Like, not really that much crazy stuff happens. But to be honest, I don't think that much crazy stuff happens in the whole game. And I think that's one of the flaws of this game, is that Life is Strange 1 had this whole time travel sci-fi theme, you know, like that kept you going, you know, kept you interested, kept you like questioning what could be happening, what's going to happen next. You know, there's these cliffhangers. But the Before the Storm, I've only played the first two. There's only 3 episodes and a bonus, I guess. But the 2 episodes, it's a very laid back story. Like, there's not really a drama per se. Like, there's only one moment where I got chills, and that was the end of the episode 1, but that's kind of brushed over. Like, there was nothing really beyond that. It was just like a thing that happened. And it wasn't like, there's no sci-fi or like mystery to be like held. It's just a kind of, it's a full walking simulator. Like, there's nothing more or less to say about the story other than just drama. But it's not like a story where like, whoa, I can't wait to see the next episode. It's just like the only people who are going to really, really, really like it are people who really, really like Chloe and already knew about Life is Strange 1. Just wanted to get all the lore of her. But if you're like playing this for the first time and you don't know about Life is Strange 1, or say you didn't even like Life is Strange 1, you'll be like, what the heck is this story? Like, who cares? But anyway, it turns out, like, you know, you sneak back into your house after you run out of thing. Your mom is still mad about you always sneaking out and doing bad in school and skipping classes and this and this. And then it turns out she brings up the Step-Douche or whatever. You know, they haven't got together yet, but I forgot his name. But they bring him up. He's going to drive you to school. And he seems like a douche, to be honest. He just doesn't seem like he's not a fun character. So I don't know why they try to make you feel bad for him if he's kind of a douchebag. Like, maybe some people, you know, feel this kind of, what's it called, savior complex, or constantly feeling bad for people. But it's hard for me to feel bad for him. So every time they try to like give you a dialogue option where you're trying to be understanding, or you're trying to be like patient with him, where just before he was acting like a douche. So I'm like, I don't get why they did that. And then even if they try to make him like a good guy, now that clashes with Life is Strange 1. So that's one of the issues with prequels, is that you really have to understand the characters that you're writing and not break these characters' flaws or, like, you know, their personality traits, because it has to add up with this future that you already know happened. So it's hard to, like, say, make Chloe be understanding of the stepfather when you already know that she hates him, or to like be understanding of like the stepfather. Oh, he actually cares about her, this. But Chloe doesn't know that. And she never knew that. Not even in Life is Strange, she like saw evidence of this happening. So it's like, it's weird that, oh, in the prequel, I guess she was understanding for a little bit and then she stopped. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, you have to drive. Yeah, he drives you to school. I did the argument thing because I'm like, screw this guy. So it ends that. And then she's having these, like, she falls asleep in the car. And throughout this game, she's having these reoccurring dreams of her father, who died in a car crash. And it's kind of weird. I would have thought that this would have like some type of spiritual or like destiny type of thing, like say how the deer was with Life is Strange 1. But it just seems like these are just normal kind of dreams of, like, you know, stress dreams. So there's no like mystery to it. It's just, she's just having a dream about her dad. Like, she misses her dad. So after the dream, you get to school and you see these new characters, which, again, this is another issue with prequels, is that, you know, which makes sense. You want to add new characters to this story, but then you have to, like, if you're following along, then you're like, what happens to these characters afterwards? Why weren't they in Life is Strange 1? Where did they go? You know, apparently these were huge parts of Chloe's life that just disappeared. Like, for example, there's these two, which is kind of weird, but there's this one black kid who is like a super, super nerd. He acts like he's literally a child. It's weird. And he's friends with this like lesbian girl who's like super cool, apparently. And they're just, they're very, very, very close. Like, to the point where it's weird. Like, I don't know if she has like some mother complex with him. And then that black kid is friends with like this super jock dude. Or not friends, he's brother. His brother is like a super jock dude. Like, super, like he's good at every single sport in the school. By the way, a side note, I still don't know what the heck this school is. Like, is it a school? Is it a college? Is it a private institution? I don't know. Because, like, say with Chloe, she, like, her story makes it seem like, oh, this is just a normal high school, like a private high school. But then with Max, they make it seem like this is like a pre-college thing. Like, oh, this is some type of, it's not high school. It's like basically it's a community college almost, but it's not. Like, it's weird. They keep mixing up these things. But yeah, there's this other girl who's for some reason simping over Nathan, which doesn't fit. Like, it doesn't seem right. Like, how much she cares about Nathan, where it's like, why do you care so much? Like, almost to a point, it's like, oh, okay, it's because she's trying to, like, she wants to be rich too. So she's trying to like get on his good side so then she can potentially be his wife and be rich too or something. Like, it's weird how much she obsesses over him, like, to a kind of stupid manner. Who else is a new character? I don't think there's any other. It's just those 4 who are new, I think. Yeah, it's basically just those 4 who are new. But even though it's only 4 additional new characters, you still wonder what the heck happened to the other ones. There's the same pothead weed dude, whatever's Justin, I think his name is. He has a new voice actor, and it sounds weird. They made him sound more cool. But I liked how Justin was before, where he sounds like freaking, like he's just a pothead, like almost like a loser kind of cool guy, I guess. Like, you know, his voice is very high. He's not cool at all. But then this new voice actor, like, at least with Chloe, they tried to make her sound the same. So you can forget that it's a new voice actor. With this new Justin dude, he doesn't sound the same at all. Like, it's weird. Who else? Mr. Jefferson isn't there. So I guess, you know, because it seems like all these characters, like the characters who are from Life is Strange 1, they are sophomores right now. So this is 2 years before Life is Strange 1, which again is confusing because I thought Rachel Amber disappeared 3 months before Max came. So even if this game ends, that means it's not explaining or not showing what happened with Rachel Amber and like how Chloe's reactions were and stuff like that. It's like talking about a completely different story, which also leads to the question, what happened in those like almost 2 years since Max and whatever, because Rachel Amber was alive apparently. I guess maybe the third episode will explain it. But anyway, there are some other characters, which is weird because they're in the acting club or whatever, or the acting class. Victoria is the black dude, whatever his name is. The two girls, the ones who got in a fight in Life is Strange 1 about the boyfriend or whatever, they're in the acting class, and that's weird because it's like where'd this come from? Like you guys apparently were all into acting and then stopped. I mean, that can happen. That can happen. Don't get me wrong. You know, people have different lives, you know, within those long year spans, but it's still weird that it's just boom, you know, they're all into acting and then suddenly stopped. But the principal still doesn't like Chloe because, you know, she's skipping classes, so she's failing all her classes, even though she had a scholarship. And I guess the whole father thing got to her and she just fell off deep end. And then while you're going to school, because at least I did, I kind of alluded that, oh yeah, I'm going to go to class. I'm going to go to class this time. But then you get distracted by the acting club. Before I talk about the acting club, when you were about to go into the school, you see Nathan and the big jock dude. They're fighting. And it's because the jock dude's pissed because Nathan's Prescott family fired all the fishermen. And I guess his dad is a fisherman. So now his dad's out of work. And like, you know, he's taking it out on Nathan. So at first you're like, okay, the jock dude is kind of a douchebag. Like that has nothing to do with Nathan. But then Nathan says something about like, you know, his, you know, poor family, this, like, you know, oh yeah, you guys are broke. You guys are this. So then you're like, okay, why should I care about Nathan again? He kind of deserves to get knocked down if he wants to, you know, just start, you know, starting stuff. But then that girl who simps over Nathan, she's like, Chloe, do something. And I'm like, why should I care? Like, you do something. Why are you always relying on me? So I'm like, I decided to help him because I'm like, okay, like to be like, at least in this scenario, the jock dude was a little like he's taking out his anger on someone who kind of doesn't deserve it. So I defended him, and turns out like on the second episode, it turns out Nathan snitched on you, said like, oh, that you started the fight. It's like, what the heck? Like, I get you're trying to make him seem like a douchebag, but then why are you constantly trying to make you feel bad for him? Like, that shouldn't even be an option in general. He just seems like a douchebag. It's weird that they even have that option, or like they're trying to allude to like, oh, he's just misunderstood. Where he's like, no, he's just straight up not a good guy. You know, like you try to help him out and then he screws you over. So why should I care after that? But anyway, so after you break up that fight, you go into school and then you get somehow distracted to go into the acting club. I forgot exactly what. It was Rachel Amber. Rachel Amber pulls you into the acting club or the acting class and asks you some questions about true love and this. So you impress her again somehow with your response. So then everyone leaves the acting club because the bell rings. But then Rachel's like, oh, no, wait for me. You know, wait, let me get dressed. So you give her clothes. And then she's like, hey, how about we skip school? So me, am I like saying like, what would Chloe say? I'm like, okay, Chloe would just take the deal anyway because she doesn't like school anyway. So I instantly agreed. And then we go on a train and travel somewhere. We travel to this park. So you're talking to Rachel Amber. It turns out Rachel Amber is like really good with understanding people, I guess, or trying to make her look perfect, I guess. And then when you get to the park, you know, you're having this, she crashes out actually. The Rachel girl crashes out because she like tried to use the binoculars or whatever, like, you know, those things they have at parks where you can look through with both eyes, the whatever binocular thing. But then it turns out it was broken. She didn't read that there was an out of order sign on the ground. So she lost her quarter and she starts banging the freaking binoculars. Like she's going crazy. I'm like, whoa, this is like this is weird. Like, you know, that would have been a red flag for me. I'm like, what the heck are you getting that mad over? Like she's literally getting pissed because she lost a quarter. I get being annoyed, but you didn't have to like bang on the freaking thing like a madman. So I guess it shows that she has some anger and management issues. I guess that ends up being proven, I guess, throughout the episode or throughout the game. So then you end up getting the stuff to pry open the binoculars, so then you can put the quarter into the other one that's right next to it, and you guys are playing around, looking at people and like acting out what they would say. Like, oh man, I'm so hungry. This. So they're having the time of their life doing this childish thing, acting like little girls. But then it turns out Rachel sees her dad make out with some random lady. So now she's pissed because her dad has been cheating on her mom. And, she's like, I guess she always knew that something was off. And that's why she brought you to that park in the first place. That's why she wanted to skip school, to catch him in the act. So she caught him in the act, and she crashes out again. Now she's pissed. She wants to get something. She wants to get wine or something, or drink some alcohol to calm her nerves or whatever. So you steal some alcohol from these one people, and she, like, her whole persona changes. She's just pissed off about everything. And of course, Chloe doesn't know what is happening, because in her perspective, everything has been going great. So then you find the scrapyard, and Chloe's having a good time with the scrapyard, trying to find ways to make Rachel feel better. But then she doesn't, and she's just still pissed. So Chloe, they get in a fight, of course, because Chloe's not understanding why she's so pissed. And then there's Rachel, who doesn't want to open up. So they split up. Rachel goes in her own way, and Chloe's just there at the freaking scrapyard, and she goes insane too. She's acting like this is the end of the world. She starts breaking stuff. She starts like screaming. She's like having a mental breakdown, a freaking tantrum. And it's just off-putting, I guess. You're like, what the heck is happening? So then after this tantrum, it gets even worse. She ends up seeing her dad's crashed car. So then she starts going crazy, gets banging the freaking car, and then she passes out in the car, I guess. And then she has another dream about her dad. And then in the dream about her dad, she's back in the car, I guess. And somehow the dream is convincing her to find Rachel and give her another chance or whatever, and stay being her friend or whatever. So she finds Rachel. Somehow she finds her at the tree where their dad did the thing. And Rachel's like, oh, I'm glad you found me. This, I'm sorry. This. It turns out that was my dad. This, she explains all that. And then she was saying like how things used to be so good. And she has like this photo of her and her dad, and she burns it and then throws it in a trash can. And I guess there's stuff in the trash can, so that trash can starts going on fire. And then you're like, okay, man, this sucks. But I guess she's dealing with it. And then she she kicks over the trash can. So now the fire is spreading to the freaking tree. And then she does like a freaking siren scream. And then the fire freaking burns down everything. So, I mean, that was cinematic. You get that scene definitely gave me chills, because it's kind of unexpected and so emotionally powerful. The scream and the fire and, so much energy's happening. So much stuff is happening at once. So it's you get the chills, and then, it does that typical Life is Strange, which I love, by the way, how they do their ending scenes, where it shows, all the other characters reacting kind of to what just happened. So now you see, say, Nathan looking up, and, with the brother and the, blah, blah, blah. You see him looking up, and they see the forest fire. You see Chloe's mom and the Step-Douche, they look up and they see the forest fire and stuff like that. So it's cool to see the reaction to what just happened. Even though that it's not your choice. It's not there's different things that could happen for different playthroughs, but it's still cool, So that's the end of episode 1. And at the end of episode 1, I'm thinking, by the way, it turns out I think I did play this entire game before. So I did beat it, but I fully memory hold it. I guess because the story is not that memorable in a way, so it's still kind of new. But I was slowly going I remember this. For example, I remember the fire. I remember the plot twist at the end of episode 2. I don't remember what happens at episode 3. I'm remembering it when it happens, because it's so blocked out in my mind, I guess. But so at the end of episode 1, it almost seems maybe Rachel has this power that's fueled by her emotions. And, she started that forest fire, or her scream pushed the flames into the forest, or whatever. And she's this entity of destruction for her emotions. But no. It was just a normal forest fire. She started it. It was her fault, but there's no supernatural element to it. So it's that kind of disappointment of thinking there's a better story about to be told. It reminds me speaking of fire, it reminds me of how Firewatch was. If you played that game, but Firewatch kind of baited you out. Like, I know that's kind of the point of the story, but it baited you out thinking that there's more happening in this world than you think. There's like, there's this killer following you and they're messing with your lines and this. And then it turns out it's like a fake out. Like, oh, actually it's just the girls taking revenge on you. Actually, the creepy noises were the animals. We're like, what the heck? Like, I get it, like, but it's not fun. Like, you play a game, you play these type of things most of the time to experience something that you can't experience in real life. Rather that's like super drama, rather that's supernatural, rather that's superhero, superpowers, rather that's future, rather that's something in the past, rather that's alternate reality, or rather that's someone's experience that you can't have. But play these games, or you read stories, or you watch movies, or you watch TV shows to experience something that you could not experience. To experience this drama or whatever, even horror movies, you experience a fear that you don't experience because, most people's lives are boring and normal. But I don't know what's up with this trend of being like, oh, let's make fake out stories. Let's make these stories where nothing actually happens this whole time. Oh, it's like real life. In real life, supernatural doesn't happen. It's like, okay, but that's not why I'm playing this. Especially a game like Life is Strange. Like, okay, maybe there's some stories where you go into it knowing that it's just going to be a life simulator. But Life is Strange 1 had these supernatural elements where it's like, okay, I'm experiencing time travel. I'm doing these things that I could never do in real life, where you can make up mistakes. But then Life is Strange 2, it's like a normal story. Like, the craziest thing that happens is the forest fire. And they don't even build on that. They don't even build on that in the second episode. It's just a background kind of thing. So that's one thing that's kind of annoying. But yeah, for start of episode 2, it ends up that you are in the principal's office because, the principal knew that you skipped school. And it all drowns out to, do you blame Rachel for dragging you out there so that you don't get expelled from school? Or do you take the blame and then you get expelled from school? So I was like, Chloe's the type to take the blame because she obsesses over her friends or whatever. Like, she still can't get over her freaking Max. Actually, her journal is like letters to Max, basically, because she's like, oh, well, if Max doesn't want to answer back, then I'll write letters to Max for when she does. Which is weird, by the way, is that Max, like, I don't know, it seems like Max is just a douchebag. Like, I don't get why she, in Life is Strange 1, obsessed over Chloe so much when, like, if you look through the text messages to Chloe or to Max, or you look through the journal to, like, her discussion about Max or, like, her thoughts about Max, it seemed like Max completely just, like, dropped the ball, didn't care about her at all. Like, stopped caring about her. Where it's like, that's weird that she not only dropped communication, she actively chose not to communicate back. Like, Chloe was apparently, like, before the storm, Chloe was trying to do a back and forth conversation, but Max would purposely not answer. So it's weird that in Life is Strange 1, suddenly she's like, oh no, we're still best friends. If anything, it makes more sense for Chloe to never forgive her. But anyway, there's one thing I also wanted to bring up. It's like, they try to do something like Warren for Chloe, like where there's this dude that likes Chloe, and they try to make it like a realistic simp, I guess, similar to how Warren is. Like, basically it's just Warren, but Chloe version of Warren. I don't even remember his name, but he looks weird. He acts weird. He acts creepy compared to Warren. Like, Warren's just like a kind of introverted, cringe kind of dude, but he's like into science or whatever. This guy is a science dude who's obsessed with Chloe, and he tries to do these weird, like, for example, basically, like, just to bring it back to the principal thing, I got expelled because I took the blame for skipping. So he expelled me, or expelled Chloe. And then because I was going to let Rachel take the blame, but then the guy was like, you have to have a punishment, and your punishment will be not being in the play. And then your understudy will be in the play, which is Victoria Chase. I was like, screw Victoria. And then Rachel, why, like, and that was the day of the play. So it's like, why would you take her out of the play on that day that it happens? So I was like, okay, fine, I'll take the blame. Chloe doesn't even like school anyway. So she gets expelled. Now to bring it back to that dude. So while you're getting all your stuff and you're leaving the school, by the way, there was the intro where she does graffiti all across the bathroom, which was a cool intro, I guess, because the music is always a powerful part of the game. But anyway, you go into the parking lot, and the dude's like waiting out there, and he's like, hey, like, because in the first episode, he asked if you wanted to go to the play together. And I was already like, I don't like this dude. I don't know who he is. Like, why should I care about him? He just randomly comes, like, he's just a random character. I'm not going to go to a play with you. Screw you. So then in the second episode, He's like, well, I got two tickets anyway. You know, you can still come with me if you want. I'm like, I already declined. I already declined. If I decline, that means I don't want to go. What the heck? And then I told him like, no, I got expelled. So like, you know, Chloe does a quick save and says, no, I got expelled. So, you know, I'm going to take a break for a while. And then he's like, oh, do you want to hug? Do you want to hug about it? I'm like, what the heck? Like, if this is what actual girls go through, that's creepy. That's an actual busted. Like, what the heck is wrong with people? Like, no wonder people get freaking ghosted if that's how people actually act. So after that I declined again. I was like, no, I do not want to go with you. I want to end this conversation as quick as I can. I want to nip this in the bud that I do not like this dude. And then even Chloe mentions in her journal that she is like turning bi, basically. Like she was saying that she wanked off to some girl in Blade Runner, the main heroine in Blade Runner, whatever her name is. So she's already mentioned that she's turning bi, and then she's already kind of, oh yeah, she also confessed after only one day to Rachel Amber. So, or she mentioned a confession, I guess. But that was when they were mad at each other. You see the mother and the one dude, the Step-Douche, and they basically say like, oh, you need discipline. You need discipline. So I'm moving in. You know, I'm moving in because you need discipline. So now Chloe's pissed because now the dude that she doesn't like in the first place is moving into the house now. So she runs away and she runs to the scrapyard. So then that's how she gets her truck. You see the truck in the scrapyard. So you go around and fix up the truck. And then when the truck is all fixed, she goes to sleep. And then she has another dream about her dad. And, you know, there's this following theme of like the raven, like the Native American raven. There's also some type of like little, like, you know, when you're looking around, you can see some information about the raven, the Native American, which by the way, I'm making a video about the raven actually. But that's on another channel. But the raven is supposed to be like, you know, this kind of spiritual figure in Native American what did you even call that? Whatever. In the Native American mythos, many Native American mythos or religions or whatever, there's the raven. The raven's supposedly like this godlike spirit that not only created humans, or at least gave humans fire or whatever, but they said like it's supposed to be like this. They also said in the game, it said something like the raven is to be respected but not trusted because, you know, it plays tricks on people. Like it's kind of a troll entity in a way. Like, you know, it doesn't really care about, like, it doesn't do stuff because it wants to. Like, it didn't give humans fire because it's a good thing. It just did it because it wanted to. Like, it just did it. Like, so it's not like something you can trust and be like, oh, it's going to help me out. No, it doesn't help you out, but you do respect it because it's powerful. And it might help you out, but it's not helping you out to help you out. It's just doing what it does kind of thing. Similar to like wind or something. Like wind, at the same time wind can power a wind farm, it could also ignite a forest fire or something. I don't know. Like where wind doesn't make a choice. It doesn't care. It just does. But anyway, the raven's like a theme. But the problem with this raven theme is that they don't build on it. Like, you know, it's not like you see like the raven having these powers or like, you know, her father having these whatever powers. Like for example, her little dream was about him talking about fire. And he's like, oh, fire, fire is such an interesting element because it's so beautiful. You know, you get captured by its beauty. But fire is jealous. And because it's jealous, it destroys everything it sees. It only wants the beauty for itself. And it's like, okay. So are we talking about the forest fire that I just caused? Like, okay, what does this have to do with the story? Because the story's seemingly more about Rachel and her father thing. But anyway, she wakes up. There's Rachel there. Rachel has her little talk about nothing, just like a therapy session, and then she gives her some clothes because I guess because there's this running thing of them planning to leave Arcadia Bay. So they're like, oh, we gotta prepare. You know, oh, we're gonna leave today. We're gonna leave tonight. We're gonna do this, and I guess they never do. But one thing I thought about, I don't know if this was the point or whatever, but I wonder about like Life is Strange 1, since they always talk about how they need to leave Arcadia Bay. Was the thing that was causing the storm, like this thing that was supposed to, like, that's breaking the order of things. I wonder if it wasn't that Chloe was supposed to die. It was that Chloe was supposed to leave Arcadia Bay. Like, rather that's through death or through moving or whatever. Like, everything was trying to push Chloe. You need to leave this town. This town is not for you, you know? And for some reason, something always keeps her staying. And that, I wonder if that's the curse. Because Arcadia Bay is just busted from the start. And, you know, even Max talks about it. Even Chloe talks about, like, oh man, this town sucks. Like, oh, I only came here because of Mr. Jefferson. Oh, I'm only here because I don't have the money to stay. this. And the longer they stay in the town, the more crap that happens. So I wonder if that was the curse. I mean, there's no way to prove it, but at least that's the theory I like, is that like she was supposed to leave all along, but she never does. And that's what the curse is. And that's what like all these signs and like the deer and the blah, 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 that's what it was trying to tell them, leave Arcadia Bay. So that means technically, the ending where you kill off Arcadia Bay and then you drive off with Chloe, that's the lore ending, or like that's the ending that like solves everything, I guess. But anyway, so she gives you the clothes and stuff because they're planning to leave. They're planning to leave Arcadia Bay for good this time. But then the drug dealer dude calls Chloe for a favor. And the favor he wants is that it turns out the jock dude is selling drugs to all of his football guys. Let's just say it's probably some type of steroid or whatever to make them perform better. That he has like this kind of, sideshow money-making business or whatever, the jock dude, by selling the drugs. But he's not paying the drug dealers back. So the dude's like, I know he still has the money. I want you to break into his dorm and steal it. So Chloe's like, okay. Because apparently he'll give him 10%. Because he owes a whopping $1,000. Who would have thought $1,000 is that serious to, these drug dealers? Like, of course, like, it's still a lot of money. But what happened afterward seems a little crazy for just $1,000. But then again, they're drug dealers, who knows? Maybe that's how people act in real life too, willing to kill over $1,000. So Chloe agrees because she'll get 10%. Wow, she'll get $100. And Chloe's like, wow, $100. That's $100 closer to leaving Arcadia Bay. So she agrees. So she goes to the school. She sees the jock, or she sees she somehow blah 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 breaks into the jock's dorm and is able to get the money. Which, by the way, I wonder how long it took people to get that money, because you have to look through all these numbers and find out what 4-digit number mattered to him. Like, I already knew. I was like, okay, it's probably something related to his brother, because they always mention how how much he cares about his weirdly childish brother. So I saw his birthday or whatever, so I was like, okay, let me put in his birthday, and I got it. So then I got the money, and then, like usual, the typical the twist, which is so predictable. Everyone knew what's going to happen. When you're about to leave the dorm with the money, it turns out the brothers are running in. So the brother's like, what are you doing here? Oh, it doesn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. You guys stay in here. And it turns out the drug dealer's boss, this guy is like, where's my money? Where's my money? And then the jock dude goes outside. He's like, oh man, I don't know where the money is. I promise it's going to come soon. We have a sports game coming up soon. I'll be able to get that money easy. And he's like, where's my money? Where's my money? So he starts beating him, or at least you hear it. You don't actually see it, but you hear him getting beat. He's like, where's my money? And then he breaks his leg. He's like, oh, you won't be able to run on that then. I want my money now. And then he walks off. So you could interrupt and bring out the money or not, like, while that's all happening. And I guess maybe it protects his leg or whatever. But I was like, no, I don't feel like going out there right now. This is insane. And I need some time to, this is too dangerous. So I'm letting me stay inside. I don't think Chloe would go out during a situation like that. And that was kind of unhinged, which, by the way, is crazy that dude was able to get on campus in the first place and not be, like, where are the security cameras? Where's anything? There's this like 30-something-year-old dude who looks like a drug dealer, who is dangerous, and just breaks into the door, breaks this dude's leg, and then walks out unscathed. So anyway, you open the door after he leaves. The guy's all appreciative, like, oh, thank you for not going out. And then I was like, you know what? Let me give him the money. That was unhinged. Screw that. And then I was like, also, in Life is Strange 1, Chloe already owed the drug dealer dude $3,000. So I was like, it doesn't even matter if I keep this money or not. The future is already going to happen. So I gave that money to him. He's like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. And then you leave. And then you go to meet up with Rachel to see the play. So then you go to see Rachel. You see Nathan being unhinged, like his father's yelling at him, being like, "Oh, this is our legacy. You're not doing this play for yourself. You're doing it for our legacy. We have a name to." And then there's the stalker girl going, "Poor Nathan, poor Nathan." I'm like, I don't care. So the dad walks off, and I don't say anything. I'm like, why should I defend Nathan? Who cares? Screw him. He snitched to me, snitched to the principal when I try to save him. So I'm like, why should I care? And then the girl has the nerve to say like, oh, you and Nathan are alike. You're a lot alike. What should I do? And I was like, what do you mean, what should you do? I told her, you should stop talking to that guy. You should stop caring. Like, what the heck? Gosh, you're not, your savior complex is not going to do anything. And especially now that I know what type of person Nathan is, where he's willing to kill people. So I'm like, you need to calm down and find some other person to obsess over. This is not the one. So then after that, you go into Rachel's dressing room, and then in the dressing room, you see Victoria Chase also being a douchebag. Like, why should you ever feel bad for her? That's another character where it's like, why do they try to make you feel bad for her? Even in Life is Strange 1, where she's just constantly doing bad things. So for Victoria Chase, she's trying to drug Rachel, I guess, to make her, pass out or whatever. So then she can be the lead of the play. So I saw, like, Chloe sees that happen. You basically switch the cups or whatever. And then it turns out it's now Victoria who has the laced tea. And then she passes out. But it turns out the fire is like delaying the other actors' route to school, which is weird because I thought she lived on the school. So where is she, like, by the fire? Why is she by the fire if she lives on the school? She lived on the school for her senior year. So why did she not live it for a sophomore? But anyway, so they're like, oh, who are we going to get to play? She's late. We can't delay the play. And then they're like, let's just make Chloe. So they make Chloe. Chloe does her acting. Either you remember the lines or not. I remember most of them. I forgot the last one. But then the play changes because then Rachel goes off beat and starts like making some promises in Shakespeare's speak, I guess, saying like, oh, well, you promised to stay with me, this. And then Chloe's like, yes, I promise to stay with you. Yeah, we can leave tonight. Da. So the play ends. It's a success. This, that. Oh, you also see Nathan getting made fun of during the play because he looks stupid and he acts stupid in the play. And I'm like, well-deserved because he's a douche. Just want to bring that up too. So then afterwards, you walk off. You guys are having a good time. You're walking in the streets with Rachel. And she's like, she's having the high after a performance, which is true, by the way. That is a true thing. Because I remember, like, during orchestra, after the performance is finished, like, those nerves are over. You finished. It was like, especially when it was a success, like, you get a standing ovation, whatever. You feel good. That is a good feeling when you finally finish a performance or a play or an orchestra concert or whatever. So, they're having that high of feeling good after a play. And then she's like, we should leave tonight. Oh, we should leave Arcadia Bay tonight. Let me just get my stuff. And Chloe's like, oh, but how can I believe you want to do it? Oh, there's all this other reasons. And then Rachel like convinces, she's like, oh, how can you convince her? You can ask her for her bracelet, which I didn't do because I knew that what's his name supposed to have the bracelet? The drug dealer dude. You can ask her for something else, I forgot, but it was stupid. And then you can ask for a kiss or whatever in blah, 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 blah. So I did the kiss or whatever. So then there's like this blah, 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 romantic kiss. And then there's freaking ashes falling because of the forest fire. And I don't know. The developers of this game have a weird hard-on for lesbian relationships for some reason. Like, not saying that's like a bad thing, but it's still kind of weird how much they obsess over it. It seems like, but who knows? Maybe it depends if the other games have it too. If the other games have it too, something's up. But if it's just these two games, then okay, whatever. But then what happens? You go to the house because she's like, oh, just come with me to my house so I can get my stuff. I don't know why she brought Chloe because she knows how her parents are. Like, she should know how her parents are. So why did she bring Chloe into the house? But anyway, she brings Chloe into her house. You see how rich, because her dad's the DA or whatever. So her dad seems like he's kind of a douchebag, like that kind of polite douchebag. Like, he says the right things, but you know that the intent is different than how it sounds. And then her mom seems like it's just a typical housewife kind of thing. So ends up you go for dinner. Everything is going good. And then the dad ends up talking about family or whatever. And it's like, it's important to keep our family close, and does this, and then holds his wife's hand. And then you can see that Rachel is getting pissed because she wants to bring it up. And I'm like, let me calm her down, because that doesn't make sense. Don't crash out when we're about to leave. Like, it doesn't make sense. But of course, it doesn't matter. She crashes out. So then there's this argument happening. And then they force Chloe to add in. I'm like, I don't want to say anything. I just want to be silent. Like, that's the smart thing to do. If you're in someone else's house and there's just drama, you don't add to it. You just stay silent. But no, they make Chloe say something. So Chloe, starts adding into this argument. Then he's like, you're from a broken, the dad's like, you're from a broken household. How dare you talk about my family's life? So now everyone's arguing. And then now she wants to, Rachel wants to be quiet. And she's like looking down, she's getting more angry. And then she picks up the salad bowl and crashes it through the table. She completely goes insane again for like the third time. And then she's like, oh, I saw you. Wait, that's why we skipped school. We saw you with that woman. And then the dad's like, that was not just some random woman. That was your real mom. And then the episode ends. And then you see like, the typical like reactions of everyone, like just what's happening with everyone else's life. And one thing that stood out to me, I think is so stupid. You see that girl who's obsessed with Nathan. She's waiting. Like, apparently, everyone left from the play. She's waiting in a chair for Nathan to, like, I guess, leave. And Nathan's the last one to leave. And then she starts clapping. Well, like, what the heck? This is weird. Like, what the heck? This is not how real people act. Like, maybe some people do. Well, who knows? Maybe if I was like some super rich person, like maybe there'd be people simping that hard because they want a piece of the money, I guess. So, I mean, that's the only thing I see when I see her doing that. I don't see like, she's just an innocent soul. I see like, oh, she's trying to take advantage or she's trying to like, she's plotting. But yeah, I guess that's it. There's nothing much else to say other than, as you see, the story is not that, like there's a lot to say, but it's not as dramatic or spiritual. Like, I don't know. I just wish there was more of a sci-fi element to it or like a magical element to it, because I don't think Life is Strange 1 was successful because of only its school drama stuff. It's because there was like this dark undertone with the school drama stuff. And not only there was this dark undertone, there was this supernatural element of the time travel with it. Like, it doesn't have to be time travel, but there needs to be something with it. Like, that's why I kind of wonder about the next Life is Stranges, because I'm going to play Life is Strange 2 after this. And I'm like, are each of these games going to not establish this whole dark story kind of element that Life is Strange 1 had? Like, are they trying to make this everything a go lucky, happy family thing? Like, I know the Life is Strange 2 is about the brothers. So it's going to be like, oh, having a brother, this is a coming of age story about brotherhood. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. That's not why I play these games. Like, what the heck? But who knows? But that was it. Long episode, though. Long episode. I think it was over an hour talking, which is crazy because I've only talked about 2 episodes. Yeah, another solo podcast. I guess this will be the new norm. Yeah,